my name's Nick Villani. I'm the CEO of Edify. We're an AI skills training company focused purely on education. So we often work with a lot of other companies who have deployed AI tools, but they're really struggling to get the adoption of those tools. There's a lot of fear around AI. We kind of come in and teach people how to use it. My background is in learning. So I've spent about 2 decades working in learning and development. I'm really interested in the intersection between technology and people. I'm not a very technical person, but I admire when these technologies come along and they change behavior, and really kind of passionate about how we can kind of drive that within people. I feel like the wave is just coming now. I feel like for the last few years, there's been so much technological innovation that companies have been really quick to race the boat. I mean, every CEO out there has mandated we're going to be an AI first business. They've deployed the tools, but now they've realized that they do have a people challenge. I often think back, to kind of digital transformation. There's a quote that I love. It's kind of unquotable. I'm not quite sure where it comes from, but that change is kind of 10% about technology and 90% about people. And I think organizations are now just waking up to that. And the organizations that are steaming ahead are the ones that are actually investing in their people as much as they are in the tech. I think, again, given that kind of exponential pace of change, I think it's really important, again, the companies that succeed, they'll have a top-down kind of mandate where they're, the technology is evolving faster than they can roll out policies or governance frameworks, but that they're safe to create an environment where there can be some experimentation, and that they're kind of on the AI bandwagon themselves. Often, the further up the chain you go, the less, the more time poor people are, the less they've even played with tools like Claude or Copilot or Gemini or whatever the tool du jour is. So I think from the top down, they kind of need to mandate it and govern it without restricting innovation. I think there's a really careful balance. And then you need this kind of grassroots innovation to happen at the same time. I think the biggest skill you can learn is to learn and to unlearn and to relearn. I think the change is constant and it's exponential, as you say. It's like a hockey stick, keeps going up. People in organizations tend to change logarithmically, which means that gap is getting wider over time. So the biggest skill and the biggest thing we encourage anyone to do is to develop curiosity and kind of a growth mindset and just not be afraid, like don't break it, just go and keep learning, because the skills that you're learning now in 3 months could be out of date. We're kind of in the third wave of generative AI now, as I'd call it, from kind of ChatGPT 3 into kind of the reasoning models and now into kind of agentic harnesses. Who knows where we'll be in 6 months from now? The biggest skill is to be able to learn. I tell you, sometimes I lie awake at night thinking about, why did I build a business to train people in something that's changing every second day? And it's exhausting, just keeping ourselves up to date with the latest. I think obviously 2026 has become the year of agents and agentic harnesses. I think, as we move towards this 2030 kind of singular vision that you hear a lot of people talk about, where you have fully autonomous kind of companies operating, I don't know if that's dystopian or maybe they'll actually get here sooner than we think. Certainly the pace of change is unlike anything I think we've seen with any other technological innovation before. I think it's been a fantastic event. I've made my way around different stages. I've heard a lot of people talking about tooling and platforms and architecture, which of course, being kind of a tech-led conference, one would expect. What I'd like to see is more people talking about the HR issues that this presents for companies. There's many conversations that I think need to happen right now. AI undoubtedly is laying off an entire kind of layer of an organization, graduates coming in or junior roles, data analysts and so forth. What happens to the talent pipeline? If you're a manager managing a team of people, but suddenly half your team is AI agents, how do you possibly lead that? So I think these are the conversations that I've heard the fringes of today, but I'd love to hear more in future conferences. I think the key thing for anyone right now when it comes to learning AI is it's almost impossible to be a subject matter expert. You have to learn to learn.